All right, so it is Hopti Learning's great honor to have both Dr. James Prochaska and Dr. Janice Prochaska with us today. So in 1977, Dr. James co-developed the stages of change model to describe the process of behavioral change. And this model is still being widely used in various disciplines to help people become healthier and happier individuals. And for Dr. Janice, we know that you've been working with children and families for 30 years. And you apply Dr. James' stages of change model to help the behavioral change and organization change. And you were the CEO of ProChange Behavior Systems for 18 years. So it is a great honor to have both of you today to share with us, Dr. James and Dr. Janice Prochaska. So in today's interview, we will talk about how Dr. James' stages of change model can help parents raise happy, confident, and resilient children. So for Dr. James, our first question will be like, for us parents, we probably want to see changes in our child's behavior right away, right? We stop crying and stop right away, right? So for example, we also want them maybe eat faster or do the homework independently, or even like maybe manage their emotions well. So that when they're upset, it happens, right? When they're upset, angry, frustrated, anxious, they won't get angry easily with parents or siblings. So is this something that can be done instantly or has a process? For parents, what would be a good, reasonable expectation? Can we hear your expert advice?
Okay, we need to differentiate between developmental change and intentional change, which is the stages of change. And at early development, there's certain stages in which kids are so stubborn, the parents pull their hair out. But they develop through that. And if they're trying to push the child faster than developmentally they're ready, they'll frustrate themselves.
That's very true. So we need to do it more intentionally then, is it right? Through the stages of change. So what are the stages would be?
Okay, the first stage we label pre-contemplation, where people typically aren't aware that let's say their child's diet is unhealthy. There's certain populations where they're more likely to make that mistake. So we want to be really helping them appreciate the positives of intentional change and lower the negatives. And part of the negative can be when you're like, what do we call it with the parent that's kind of always looking over their shoulder?
Helicopter parents.
Helicopter parents, yeah.
That's true. So we all go through stages then. We cannot expect like change right away.
Yes, right. And it's unfortunate that, let's say the schools aren't taught in terms of, that it starts a developmental kind of thing. And we always had like parent meetings with the teachers, see how they're going and what might we do our part, rather than to leave it just to the teacher.
That's true. So parents maybe on the side can help to develop those changes. So we know that maybe, so you mentioned in your book, so the action stage may be around 6 months. Yes. And the maintenance stage will be around 5 years. So each time without any relapse for about 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes. I think the emphasis should be on the last 6 months.
Okay.
So they're through the riskiest time and more likely to move ahead to 12 months. Because as Janice was saying to me earlier, parents would say 12 months. Oh my gosh, how am I going to live with that? So,
that's true. I understand. But I mean, for us parents, we'll learn to be patient then.
Yeah. Yes, we are the patient.
That's true. We are the patient. What a joke. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. That's great. Now, thank you, Dr. James. Now, can we hear from Dr. Janice? We know that you're the experts in the working with children for so many years. So during this stages of change process. So what can parents do to support this successful behavioral change during this long period of time, right? Because 6 months, 12 months, so that the child can be happy, confident, and resilient.
Well, I think just to mention all the stages, the pre-contemplation that Jim was mentioning is that the child is not ready to do the healthy behavior that the parent would like them to do. And in contemplation, they're getting ready to do it, but they're not really doing it yet, but they're like at least thinking about doing it. And then in preparation, they're taking some small steps in the direction that the parent wants them to be in. And in action, they're actually doing the healthy behavior that the parent would like them to do. And I think what's really important is for the parent to be very clear to the child what they would be doing behaviorally if they were in action. And maybe behaviorally, maybe they would be doing their homework right after they get home from school or right after dinner, and that they would just focus on that without any distraction. But what would they be doing behaviorally so that the child is really clear as to what the parent is hoping that they would be doing when they're in action. And as Jim was saying, action, you need to help monitor it and reinforce it and model it, and that can take up to 6 months. And we don't expect maintenance. Maintenance is just a little bit awkward more with children because, as Jim was saying earlier, they're developing along the way and getting more mature and getting more responsible. So that can happen quicker than the 5 years idea.
And we should recognize that, the children also want to change us. We're not the only one working on it.
That's true. We are also working on our own change, right?
Yes. And how to get the child to move through the stages is important to use different strategies or processes of change based on what stage they start in. If your child is starting in pre-contemplation, not even thinking about changing or not even, agreeing with it, it's important to share with them all the reasons why it would be important to do that healthier behavior. What would be all the benefits, and to really even make a list and share that with the child. And then to help them to learn more about why it's so important to be doing their homework. Let's use that as an example. That they would be doing better in school, that they would have less stress at home, that they would have more learning abilities, and on from there. It would be also important for them to realize that how doing their homework would impact others. Your siblings might be having a good model. Their parents would be less complaining, and on from there. And then it would also be important to ask the child, how would they feel if they were doing their homework readily? Would they feel better about themselves? Would they have an easier time in school? Would their teachers be happier with them? Those kinds of things. And to have a routine for the child so that it's automatic. You're hoping that it gets to be more automatic, and to set up reminders. It's time now. It's right after dinner. It's time now to sit down and focus on your homework.
So in terms of the process, you really want parents to reinforce the positives much rather than punish the negatives. Because with punishment, they may not do it with the parents there, but they may well do it when you don't have the parents' control.
Very true. Yeah, I love both of your advice. That's true. We need to point out all the positives, all the pros, right, to themselves, to the people around them. How do they feel about themselves when they can change? And also not to point out the negative, because when they are still thinking to do it or not, when people say many negative, they may choose not to do it.
Yeah. I like what you said about honoring the child.
Honoring the child. That's very true. Thank you, Dr. James. So last question will be like, any sharing from your personal experience so that this behavioral change will be a positive childhood experience rather than a negative one. We know that we all want our child to be happy, confident, and resilient, and we want them to have a happy childhood, but there are so many different conflicts. So how to make it as like a positive childhood experience for the overall process for the children? Can we hear your advice from your personal experience?
Well, one of the things is that we made a variety of different kind of activities available to them, and then they could see what they liked the most. And some of that was with athletics, and then some of that was with intellectual development.
So give them choices, something that they like.
Yes, because punishment, it doesn't change it. It just changes where the person's doing it. Okay, so the kid can be out there making trouble, and the parent may not even know that unless they get in real trouble.
That's true, and that's not something we want.
Right.
Thank you, both of you. We know that both of you have written a great book. It's called Changing to Thrive. It talks about all the different stages in details, how to help our child move from the pre-contemplation. They don't see the need to change at all into the next stage, like maybe thinking about it, all the pros and cons, should I do it or not? And then prepare. The preparation stage may do a little bit of change, and then we go back. And then the action stage, really do what we hope they are doing. And then the maintenance, so that they something happened, the trigger, maybe they're tired, hungry, lonely, then they relapse, but they can still go back to do the action stage, right? They are more aware about their triggers, then they can avoid relapse.
They can learn from that regression, and what can they do better the next time so that they can stay in action.
Yeah, rather than treating it as a failure.
That's very true. We hope to set a path for success for them, and they are aware of what are the triggers so that they won't fall into the relapse. Wonderful. I'm so glad to have both of you. And for parents, if you are interested in learning those skills, because of these skills like Dr. James and Dr. Janice mentioned, we want to boost their self-esteem, express their feelings, and also how to resolve conflicts with parents without tears. Those are some skills that Hopti Learning provide. And if anyone interested, they are welcome to contact us for more information. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, everyone. And especially so thankful to have both of you, Dr. James and Dr. Janice Prochaska.
Especially at Thanksgiving time.
Have a good Thanksgiving. Thank you.